Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Toon Review, where tonight it is the transfer show stroke latest news, because we'll also talk about everything else that's going on at the club. News, of course, I released a video earlier on today just to mention about Dwight Gale's departure for Stoke City. That looks like it's been done. He's had his medical and everything is hoorah. He's off the wage bill, which is massive for us. And he can get concentrating on trying to revive some sort of career, what's left of it, instead of sitting on his ass getting splinters in his backside all the time. But good luck to him. Good luck to him. He was brilliant for us in the Championship season. It didn't really happen in the Premier League for him, but hey-ho, that's the nature of the business. But Stoke came out of nowhere to get him. I have to say, they weren't even linked with him. There was 5 other clubs involved, apparently, but Stoke came forward with a permanent option, and I think that suits us even better. Of course, linked with other players, one which we'll go through tonight. And of course, Elliot Anderson has actually come out and said in a report in the Chronicle that he wants to stay and fight for his place at Newcastle United in the first team. So that, for me, was fantastic to hear. But as usual, guys, if you do enjoy tonight's show, don't forget to hit that like button so it tells YouTube something good is happening on the channel. And also, if you're new and you like what you see, don't forget to hit the subscribe button. It's free to do so, and the notification bell, which will let you know when we do upload a video or we go live, which is practically every single day. And also, if you'd like to donate to the channel, as usual, you can hit the $ at the bottom of the live comments, and that will take you through that way. Thank you in advance for that. We'll go through a couple of comments before we get into it. Stefan says, Sesko, Cornet, and Paqueta, these 3 I want to Newcastle. Cornet, only 17 million. Chelsea looking at him. I hope Dan A is fast. Pedro says, good evening, Toon Review family. Hopefully everyone is bright and dandy on this Thursday. James, good evening. I have my team picked and ready for the Fantasy Football League. Going to be a laugh. Yeah, I've just released details on social media as well of the Super 6 League that we're doing as well. So that is a lot easier than obviously the Fantasy Premier League. But we will keep doing the fantasy show every week. I don't know whether we'll probably start it next week and have a look at. We've had an incredible amount of entries for that, by the way. I have to say thank you to everybody that's entered. We have literally well over 100 people in this league. It is going to be fantastic. Good evening to Gary, and he also says, please remember to keep comments respectful and all the usual bump to keep the chat going nice and smoothly. Tom, good evening. He says, evening, everyone. I've just joined the Fantasy League. Now I just make sure I need to go through it throughout the season. That's what I need to do, Tom, because I'm guilty of that.
Me too.
Yeah, but now we're doing a show every week. I'm going to have to keep on top of it and make sure that I do stick to it this time. Good evening, Stephen. Pedro says, I personally think we'll bring in an unknown striker as a backup player just in case. I don't think we will bring in a marquee signing now. J7's still going to be our most expensive signing to date. Trolls, good evening. Carl, good evening. Geordie Will. So come on, NUFC, prove me wrong, says Pedro. Hitmarker, good evening. Trolls, so we all looking forward to seeing Wood up front next season. Mark, good evening. Rachel's in the house. Lingard gone to Forest. I wanted to ask you about that, guys. Alex, we'll start with you. Lingard's come out and said it's basically for, he likes the project at Forest. Do you buy any of that bullshit, or has he gone for the wage?
Oh, 100% he's gone for the wage. It was in his Instagram story that he literally posted a little thing about people, valuing him. Mm-hmm. So I don't know who's advising him or whether this is his own mentality or where this has quite come from. But that sort of wage is pretty bonkers. That's what sort of elite attackers are on in the Premier League. Yeah. And he's very good when he's not played recently, but obviously his loan spell was tidy for West Ham. And it's It's insulting. It's insulting to other clubs. You know, Aston Villa have only recently gone out and started putting 200 on players, and those were Champions League quality players, like minimum. We're refusing to do it. We've got. It's not that we're undervaluing him. We don't have Trippier on 200k, and he won La Liga with Atletico and is an England international. It just doesn't make any sense. He's insulting a lot of the other clubs that have come in for him. It's very disrespectful to West Ham as well as us, that we don't want to break our wage structure. 200 is very high. Like 150, fine. It's within the realms of possibility because there's other players close to that, or whereas 200 is way above.
I mean, there's literally world-class players not getting 200 grand a week. Hey, Billy, where do you stand on it?
Well, if he's trying to call it a project when he's signed a 1-year contract, then I'm a Dutchman.
Yeah, that exactly. Very good comment. Yeah, you just don't go for sign a 1-year deal on a project, do you? It's ludicrous.
It means basically January that we can go for the same rigmarole as went through last January. We're trying to sign another free contract.
Yep, absolutely.
And Forest could be a deep doo-doo with FFP.
Yeah, they've got to be careful.
Really bad. They're paying Henderson 100 grand a week.
Yeah. Laura says, guess who was doing security for Hartlepool versus Sunderland? I guess it's you, Laura. Enjoy yourself. Good evening, David. Sesko, I think, would fit in. Possibly. We'll see. We'll see a bit later. I prefer George Stanway to Wood. She can find the net. George Stanway, of course, quality finish last night, by the way. And well done to the Lionesses. Fought back when all looked doom and gloom, but they know how to play entertainment football. I think Gareth Southgate should have a good conversation with the England coach on how to actually play nice football and be positive as well. Wolves F1 says, I believe Newcastle is 6th to 8th next season in the EPL, rocking all over the world. Jal, good evening. Tony, good evening to you as well. Now, what I did want to sort of speak about early doors, guys, is there is a lot of, I wouldn't say negativity going on social media, quite a lot of worry with the fans about where we stand with the signings and the transfer window, because there's starting to be a little bit worry creeping in. And I have to say, me as well, I'm looking at it thinking, do you know what? I understand this, Newcastle tax and stuff like that. Don't get me wrong. But I think if we are going to start bringing quality players in, we have to pay the money. You know what I mean? It's where do we get the balance, guys? Because some of these signings, or possible signings that we've looked at, they've been, you could say, a little bit overpriced, but then again, some of them aren't. You look at the likes of Cornet, who I think would be a fantastic signing. Jack Harrison, for me, Leeds are wanting way too much. He's not worth the money. I think we're right to stand on that. We've put an offer in, it was rejected. But where do you stand, Alex? Because where's the middle balance here? Because it is a little bit worrying that we're a little reluctant to pay the big bucks for the big players.
I think it's important to set a precedent. I mean, this is important. When you look around Europe and you have a look at some of the deals that certain clubs have been able to get. For example, PSG have been able to get players for very tidy amounts. Gravenberch went to Munich for what, 20-30 million or something, very, very low, like very low fee. Dortmund have been signing players on the cheap. Wonder Kids as well. Adeyemi's gone there. There's a bunch of people. And there's a lot of clubs who are getting really, really good deals for good players who are just sidestepping. And we're not in that bracket at the moment. And if we ever want to be, we've got to be careful about how we present ourselves going forward in the next few years. Because if we become sort of mugs in the next 3-4 transfer windows, we will forever be, tarnished with the same brush as Manchester United are. They're getting taken for a ride with every transfer, every window, and they're really struggling to find a balance. Yep. Even though they've got the money, it doesn't make it. They are spending money on massive players. It's not making a difference because the structure's all wrong. And we've got to be careful because it will bite us in the butt eventually. If we're going to sign 3 to 5 players every window and recycle and grow, and we're overpaying for each one of them 5 to 10 million in the fee, and then also overpaying in the wages, and then also overpaying in the agents' fees, in 3 years' time, it doesn't matter how much money we've got. It's still it's not healthy for the books. especially if we get sort of poor sell on value. We've just given Dwight Gale away for free. He's got 2 years left on his contract.
Yeah.
A lot of what we're trying to shift right now is going to really negatively affect how our books look in the next 2 or 3 years. So it is really frustrating, but they are being very, what's the word? They're showing a lot of restraint, and I like it.
They're showing restraint and they're being careful, aren't they? And I mean, look, that's where I stand is the frustrated bit, because I'd like us to go. I want us to go and get one really marquee signing this summer. I don't think Botman was their marquee signing. I think they've got eyes on somebody else. But I do have, I still have 100% faith in the new owners that they're going to do things right. And they have my full backing still. Of course they do. But I can understand, so some fans getting a little bit frustrated, saying, right, we're seeing these certain players going to different clubs that we've been linked with. Is it because we're not willing to pay? But I understand you've just made a very good point, Alex, about where they would stand from an ownership point of view. Billy, where do you stand on it? There's a sort of, there's plenty of time left, I guess, in the window, isn't there? But where do you stand at the minute? Are you bordering on a little bit frustrated yet, or do you still think that we'll make a couple of signings?
I believe we'll make 2 or 3 more signings.
Yeah.
And I think they're just being prudent and trying to get the best price possible for whatever they want. We're obviously short of offensive players, attacking players, I should say, more than offensive. We need definitely two of those with a right-sided winger or forward and a centre forward. Definitely need that. And I think they'll know that. But they're doing stuff privately, aren't they? They're not blabbing all over town who we're after and what have you. I'm confident we'll sign the 2 or 3 players we need to give us a good chance of finishing top 6 next year. And it's 6 weeks of the window to go yet, so no need to panic.
Yeah, there is a long way to go.
I know we want them before the season starts, but sometimes that isn't possible. So
yeah, but I think that's where a lot of the frustration comes from, Billy, isn't it? The fact that we know what Eddie said at the end of last season. He was talking about building over the summer, making sure that he wanted everybody in for pre-season. He said he'd want to be busy at the start of the window, but not busy at the end. But sometimes, obviously, we know it doesn't work that way.
Well, no. And we spent 7 months chasing a bloke that had no intention to come into us. Basically, that cost a lot of time.
Yeah, it did. Do you think Paqueta is high on the list to get? Because he has been linked with Spurs today, and of course Arsenal still sniffing around. Does that concern you that we are not pushing for Paqueta as much as, or do you think it's going on behind the scenes, Alex?
That's a tough one. I'm really not sure. It's one of those things that's it's just tricky to know. I know a lot of journalists have said there are murmurs of it, but there's a few journalists that seem to flip flop on whether we're in for him or we're not in for him. Logically, it makes sense. It's not one of those signings that would just be because he's a friend. He is of that caliber. I mean, it's arguably he could be the best player on our team if he came in. It's possible he could come in and be better than Bruno, but that's a big ask. But he's putting up numbers. It's a strange one. We've had a lot of funny news in the last week, haven't we, about this supposed £34 million valuation that they were willing to drop to, which is bizarre because I don't know why they would take that, why they would need to. I know they need to generate some funds, but. It's a strange one. It just depends. It really, really depends on the way they want to go. Obviously, there's a lot more moving parts with transfers now in regards to us with the CEO, with Dan Ashworth, and with Eddie Howe, and then coordinating with the ownership. So, I'm assuming they all know exactly what Eddie Howe wants first team wise.
Cool.
And it's strange because we're getting linked with right-footed wingers, left-footed wingers, people who can play half and half. So the links are a bit inconsistent. So it's difficult unless you've got solid sources to really know what they're going for.
Yeah,
it's
tough.
Yeah. Charles, thank you for your 100 krona. Really do appreciate that. Thank you, my friend. And Zishan, thank you for your 17.99 super chat. He says, "Evening, guys. I'm gutted about the Diaby situation. He was the one player I wanted. 25 million for Harrison is a fair price. Wouldn't pay more than that for him. And want to know Paqueta's price. Let's get him." And Kevin Pryor, thank you for your £5 super chat. I think Newcastle are going to are being too cautious. I heard what Alex said. Surely, with how much money the club has, surely they can afford to take one risk. We may see that. We may see the risk being taken by the end of the season.
Yeah, we probably will. I mean, look, Eddie Howe's comments. I've said this 3 shows in a row. He said at the end of the Friday game, "I'm sure we can hopefully land a player who can make a difference." That he said we're keen to add strength in certain areas. They are there. They are trying to upgrade, not just add, literally upgrade. He's said that himself in his own interviews. So they're trying.
Guys, just to a shout out to the people that are asking about the Fantasy Premier League. Trolls are saying, so only those on Facebook or Twitter can join the Fantasy Premier League? Absolutely not. It's anybody, mate. I did put the link in the comments on the last show. They're now pinned again. The link to join the Fantasy Premier League for the Toon Review is at the top of the comments. It's pinned there. Just click on that and you can enter your team in there. So join us by all means. Stevenson's question is, can we get a striker following our current wage structure? Price's wages are mental this year, especially for goal scorers. Well, I mean, look, we may as well get first into this guy because this is the guy who's been heavily linked with us, Alex, Benjamin Sesko.
Yeah, so I'm going to be mean there and correct you. It's I've looked. It's Sesko. So the S's, those funny S's.
I knew you would do that. I could have put money on you putting me right because it's got the little things above his name. Sesko. Right, there you go.
Yeah, well, I'm standing by it. It's important to pronounce things right.
Of course.
I'm still not happy with people going Guimarães. Like, no, that's who's that? Doesn't play for us.
Guimarães, isn't it? Guimarães, is it?
Guimarães.
Just call him friggin' Bruno. Anyway, Benjamin.
Yeah. So,
I think you'll find it's Benjamin.
Benjamin, yeah.
I mean, it depends. So his mum was Bosnian, but his dad's Slovenian. So I'm assuming that full name is all Slovenian though. So, yeah, this is the big one that's come out in the last few days. There's probably a lot of you watching that will have seen that the agent was out near the water near the Tyne Bridge eating. So, and that caused a lot of people to be a bit confused. Is he? Isn't he? So, but just to clarify that for people before we actually look at who he is. So where is he? So this is his agency. It's a pro agency. That represent him, a Slovenian player agency. And their total market value of all of their player list is just over 13 million. And Sesko himself is valued at 10. Obviously, he's probably going to be a bit more than in real life, but on paper. So he is pretty much their only saleable asset to a Premier League club that they've got on their books. So if the agent's around, he's either doing it to generate drama and gossip, or he's there for genuine reasons. So it's either one or the other. Unless he's just got some family in the Toon and he's from Slovenia, which would be a bit odd. I mean, it's these guys, to be fair. They've actually got his phone number and everything. The owner, head of scout, and you've got all these guys here.
Wow.
So rumours about him.
It is interesting that he was in Newcastle, isn't it?
It is a bit weird, yeah.
Yeah. Just before you go on his details, Alex, thank you, Alvin Messenger, for your $5 super chat, mate. Very, very kind. There's no comment there, but thank you very much for your continued support of the channel. I know you're a big contributor. And Darwin Núñez has just smashed 4 goals for Liverpool in their friendly.
In his own net or the right way this time?
Oh, the right way. But I think that's a message to all the people that have been criticising, especially their mates in the same city from the blue half who was smashed by Minnesota. And did anybody see Dele Alli's fantastic effort to try and score a goal? I mean, Christ on a bike. It's incredible. Anyway, carry on, Alex.
Yeah, so this is the transfer market rumours bit. I clicked on it out of curiosity. And the fact that there's pretty solid links to Milan. Well, this was previous links. But Milan's, I mean, they're linked with everybody we're interested in. And Dortmund and Bayern.
Yeah.
So anybody who's anybody in the Austrian Bundesliga gets linked with Dortmund and Bayern, to be fair. It's just how it works. But so he's no joke. The fact that he's on the list of these 3 clubs means, Champions League clubs who are trying to win their own domestic leagues have looked to him, which is which is really, really positive. So if we go back to actually who he is, it makes a lot of sense. So Ekitike, 6'3", technical, strong, score goals, a lot of potential. This guy's in a similar mold. He's a little bit taller at 6'4", right-footed striker. He's quite technical. Again, I've watched a lot of him. Even if people go and have a look at YouTube clips, because they'll put his goals and skills up there. He's partial to a chop, a body feint, step overs.
Sorry, Alex, would you like to just explain to the viewers what you mean by a chop?
A chop, basically what Ronaldo does.
Chop myself, to be fair,
all the time.
Nice pork one, Billy, definitely.
So he's very technical for 6'4". I mean, is Chris Wood 6'4"? Or is he 6'2"? I think Wood's 6'4", isn't he?
Well, he's made out of stone, so he's probably
6'4", but jumps 5'3".
Yeah.
Well, yeah. So, I mean, this kid offers. He's still got a bit of filling out to do, but he's still got physicality. So, right, 19 years old as well. He's only just turned 19 in May, so he's still got a full year at 19. He's still got another year of being a teenager. So he is very, very, very young. So basically what's happened is Salzburg pinched him from a Slovenian team a few years ago, instantly loaned him out to their farm team for, Liefering. And he absolutely dominated. He got like 21 goals and 29 appearances, was a beast, tore up the second tier of Austria, has gone back and has been slowly, phased into the team. Only made 8 starts. But he's contributed a lot. 5 goals in the league, 5 goals in the cups, 1 goal in Europe as well. He's only averaging 40 minutes a game though, so he's being used as a bit player. And I think that the rumor we've got that they rejected a 30 million bid is because obviously they've just lost Adeyemi, who was their star player for Salzburg. They've just lost him, so it looks like their plan was for Sesko to step in for this coming season. So obviously when bids come in for him, they're a bit like, oh God, no. Well, we need a striker. So
yeah.
Where are we going from there? So yeah, it does play out and out striker. They play funny systems. It depends who they're playing. The problem is with a team like Salzburg is in their own domestic league, they can play very aggressively because they are far better than anybody else in the league. But then when they play in Europe, they have to completely change how they play. So it's a funny old thing for these kinds of teams.
Yeah.
So sometimes he plays a bit isolated, but he can go out into the channels as well. He can cross. He can drive into channels. One thing which I absolutely love about him is what we always criticize Chris Wood for. Is the ball sticks to him and he can do driving runs similar to Joe Linton. But he releases the ball. He releases the ball. He won't just try and drive with it. He'll beat 1 or 2 players or beat them off. And then he will actually do like a loop through ball, or he'll boot it over the top through to somebody. And he'll try and release wingers or other on-rushing players. He's always he's very aware. He's very clever for 19. Yes. Always looking up, trying to find people if he doesn't think he can do it himself.
He's got a trick or two as well, hasn't he?
Yeah, so the fact that he's got that in his game at 19 is why he's linked with all the top clubs, because it's not just...
Can I ask you a question, Alex?
Yeah.
Do you think he's possibly like a Cristiano Ronaldo was at 19? That he's got a bag of tricks and everything and it just needs nurtured, and this guy could be an absolute superstar?
A little bit different. A little bit different. I think Ronaldo was far more impressive technically.
Yeah.
This guy is obviously 3 inches taller, a lot more physicality, a bit raw as well. Well, I guess Ronaldo was quite raw when he was young, but the sky's the limit. But I think he would develop into a very different player to what Ronaldo is, because he's a tank. So. But he plays very well for his age, against teams full of men who with 20 or 25, 30-year-olds. He's positioned well. He looks beyond his years in terms of his brain. He looks up. He's very spatially aware. He knows where his teammates are. He very, very much got that Joe Linton quality of receives the ball, beats 2 players, which then creates a big hole of space. And then for us, that's great, because if we've got Bruno, Maxi, hopefully another winger, if we've got people like that on rushing, brilliant. and as I said, 19. So, what have I got on my notes that's useful that I've not actually said? Contracted until June 2026. So 4 years left on his contract. So he does have a fat contract. He only signed an extension last year. So it might have been more feasible if Adeyemi hadn't have gone, but the fact that one of their sort of wonder kids, their star players, is gone, it's going to make it harder to get him out. We're going to have to overpay, not just because it's us, but because they've already lost a striker like that. So it's going to be doubly difficult. Maybe some of it depends on the player. We talked about this with Botman before. Did he grow up watching the Premier League? Does he care? Maybe these things they can be factors. So, I mean, his international records for his age are bonkers as well. He's already made I think he's made 12 Slovenia appearances and a couple of goals. He was involved all the way through the youth setup. He was the youngest debutant for Salzburg. He was the youngest scorer for Salzburg. He's just one of those kids that's got all of those records. He's just that guy. So yeah, I mean the comparison with Ronaldo is probably a bit far, but I do agree with you in a sense.
Yeah, I wasn't putting him in the same bracket as Ronaldo. I just said that what I mean is just by his age, the standard that he can play at. You're talking about playing against 29, 30-year-old men and really being the dominant figure. Can he do that for Newcastle United?
Pop the share back on. I found the article that backs up what you've just said.
Okay.
So I found this. So this was a little article from somebody from 2021, so from a year ago, and this is talking about the Austrian Bundesliga, hot prospects and players that have increased in their transfer value over the course of the season. Obviously, we know Patson Daka went to Leicester, so the Austrian Bundesliga is no joke for producing talent. It's very good. So this article comparing him with the striker who was often compared to Erling Haaland, has now returned to Salzburg with a new market value. So yeah, he had the biggest increase in his market value in that season where he came back from loan because he was so good. So he's very, very highly regarded in Austria, even in Germany, and he is considered to be one of the next big things, or one of the next crop of strikers around Europe. So definitely, I mean, 35 million for Jack Harrison that we've been quoted, whereas we've had a 30 million. Well, potentially we've had a 30 million turn down. I would prefer to go in for this kind of signing, to be honest.
Yeah, Billy, what do you reckon? I mean, for me, it's a no-brainer. I think if we can get this guy, then get him. Because he would inspire me a lot more than Chris would coming off the bench. And to be honest, Seska, is that right, Alex?
Sesko,
there you go.
Yeah.
Seska. Yes. Seska, yes. He could start games as well, Billy. It wouldn't be sort of a dreadful fear if Callum Wilson did pick up an injury and we have got this guy to fill in.
I'll be honest, I'd never seen him until today. I had a quick Dennis Wise scout of him on YouTube. Yeah. And people my age usually say 6'4" strikers are target men. He is good in the air. He does win headers in the box and scores headers. But he's got a lot more to his game than just that. He's very technical, like Alex says. He can beat a player. He's got an eye for a pass also. At times he's set his teammates up to score. So he'll have assists on his record. Fair finish also. A bit of pace. Yeah. He looks like an all-round good player and a real good prospect in the making. Yeah, I'll be all in for someone coming in as an understudy to Callum Wilson, maybe starting cup games, see how he progresses. But this is not for just now. This is for the future.
Oh, without a doubt. Yeah,
this kid could be a real proper superstar.
And he scored the other day in a preseason friendly, didn't he, for Salzburg? Lovely goal. So
he came on at half time against Legia Warszawa. And scored 2 in half an hour and then got subbed back off again. So they gave him 30 minutes and he got a double. So he's no joke.
I think we snap the hands off for him. Pay what they want, just get him in. But another guy who we were linked to was, of course, Mara at Bordeaux. He's gone to Southampton. 11 million quid. And she's asking if we've missed a gem or dodged a bullet. Billy?
Well, by all accounts, Southampton were the only ones that put a reasonable bid in for him. Apparently, us and another club were waiting for Bordeaux to just go out of business and pick him for nothing. And Southampton put a fair bid in. Simple as that. Yeah, he looked a great player in that under-23 tournament, the 21 Toulon tournament. The one game I saw when we were meant to be watching Ekitike, and he sort of got knocked after 4 minutes. But yeah, he was the best player on the pitch by a country mile.
Yeah.
I think he might do. It's good actually to watch him play in the Premier League for another club. Maybe this time next year, we could go in with a bit more money and snatch him off Southampton's hands, because obviously it would be a bigger project than him.
Yeah, see sort of how he deals with the Premier League and how, you know, is he up to the rough and tumble of the Premier League? Because, of course, Bordeaux he's come from, who we know the situation of Bordeaux, it ain't great. Caretaker says, I wonder if we really have the money. Now, I've seen various quotes on Twitter today saying, no, remember, we are not the richest club in the world. We have the richest owners in the world. Now, where do you stand on that, Alex? Doesn't the fact that we got the richest owners mean we're the richest club if they own the club?
It would have done 5 or 10 years ago, but they are, you know, the Premier League and everybody, they are throwing their toys out the pram profusely at this sort of project. Hence the panicked new regulations they rushed through in October to try and stop sponsorships that had pre-existing connections with the owners. That was essentially to stop us from just going, oh, there's $500 million, go. Which is frustrating, because it feels like, I mean, it's a step in the right direction for the health of football, but it is very unfair, you know, as the supporter of my club and all of us, that everybody else has had a fair crack at the whip, and now we're just sort of like, we have to play by a different set of rules. It is rather frustrating. But the fact that this was, I mean, October was a long time ago. I think it was it December it eventually came in, I think. So that was a long time ago, and the owners have shown no signs of taking their foot off the gas or not being invested in the project. So there have been some suggestions that, you know, because obviously they bought us to promote the country. That's the whole point of that. That's the point of the fund specifically. That is what the description of the Public Investment Fund is they want to try and promote relations and global understanding and all of that. So if they didn't feel they could still do that, they wouldn't still be here. So they obviously feel like they can still do it somehow. So we'll just have to see what they come up with. You know, I'm sure they'll figure out a way.
Laura says, Chelsea, etc. Players in, no messing. Players have time to gel. If we go deadline day, we have given them a head start. Billy, Chelsea haven't messed around, have they? They've identified and gone.
Yeah, by all accounts, the new owner is kind of funded by JP Morgan, which is kind of a bit iffy, in my opinion.
Yeah, I'd heard rumours of that.
So iffy.
Strange that they were never mentioned during the takeover, though. I mean, you know, should they have? I don't know. I mean, I don't know how, you know, what the takeover entailed with Chelsea. It was a very complicated business, but because of what was going on with the previous owner. But, you know, it just seems like, again, they may have found a back door.
By all accounts, Mr. Bowley's $800 million in debt, or the company that he owns.
Something like that, yeah.
So, you know, there's loopholes for them, but yet we're trying to do things legitimately and we get put down. It just doesn't seem to make sense, although it does to the cartel clubs. Chelsea, yeah, they've gone out and spent more money. They bought more wingers after another winger. So maybe it's time maybe it's time to raid them for some of their wingers that don't get a game.
Well, Hudson-Odoi is the one that stands out the most, who I'd love to see in Newcastle. Even at a loan deal with an option to buy. I think that would be a fantastic purchase for Newcastle. But again, you know, we don't know. We don't know if Newcastle are looking at them or what. Johnny says, hi, lads. Could you possibly give a quick shout out to my 9-year-old daughter, Gracie, who was watching her first Toon Review transfer show tonight? Hi, Gracie. Hope you're enjoying the show. Watch more. Hope you're enjoying it. We're not reluctant. We want to pay what we feel is right and what the players are worth to us. Wayne says, trying to have our eyes out overpricing players, it's laughable. Dylan, good evening. Mike says, the market is ridiculous. They must have a long-term plan, or maybe being the richest club isn't as true as it seems. NUFC have a stricter budget than we know, money being spent elsewhere too. Yeah, I mean, we've got to take that into consideration that you know, it's not just, we mentioned this the other night, it's not just the playing side that they have to rebuild. It's everything, Alex.
Yeah, we can't. It's not fair to compare it to Chelsea. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
We've got to play. We're playing a different game. Like, right, Chelsea bring in Sterling. If they want to, they don't need to, but if they want to offset that financially, they could go and sell Pulisic, recoup the 40 million. They could go and sell, what's his face, Werner. They could go and sell anyone. They could sell a handful of players to offset that spend. How do we do that? If we go and buy another winger for 40 million, could we offset that and sell someone? Apart from Maxi, Wilson, we could get something for. We literally can't do that. That's not even possible. We're not playing the same ball game that they're playing. So it's not even remotely fair to compare it. And the reason they're getting these players through straight away is because when they walk up to the negotiations table, they go, right, we want a title push next year. We want a Champions League push next year, and we'll match wages for our top earners.
Yeah.
Of course they're going to get the players in. We can't offer any of those three. Well, we can match our top earner, which the top earner is still lower at the moment, and that's for the purpose of it. Like, it's just we have to do it carefully. We've seen what happens with Everton trying to rush into it.
Mm-hmm.
And it does seem like we've got to be careful not to mess up financially because they're bringing in rules left, right, and centre. Things are getting changed. We've got to be careful we don't get caught out. Otherwise, they will quite happily. I mean, people say that other clubs don't get punished. Chelsea had the transfer ban. People did get punished. They were lucky not to be. It was only because they bring in so much revenue commercially that they got away with. They didn't get any more sanctions, but they were sweating for a while. Chelsea and City, respectively, were both a little bit nervous because they did a lot wrong. So we've got to be careful because if we do something wrong, they'll throw the book at us. So we got to be so careful.
Absolutely, yeah. Up the A1, thank you for your 99 pence super sticker. Really do appreciate that. Hope you guys are well. By the way, some big news, a big announcement, actually. I am going to be able to give a ticket away for the home game against Manchester City. I have got a spare ticket. Well, I bought one, actually. So there you go. So the channel will be giving away a ticket in the Leazes End to a lucky winner. Now, I'm not sure how I'm going to do this yet. We may have a competition for it, or we may, I may just say everyone that donates a super chat on the show, whatever it may be, will go into a draw at the end of that show, to win the ticket, which I think will be an easier way of doing it because then we've got everybody who is in the competition watching, and then, they'll know that they've won. So it won't be a kind of thing of giving a shirt away and then nobody claims it, which, by the way, nobody's claimed this black and white one. So that's going up again for a competition. But we do have a ticket available for the Man City game, which I am giving away to one lucky winner. And I'll probably do that over the next week or so.
Make sure you subscribe then and come back.
Indeed. So if you're not subscribed, get yourself subscribed. To be honest, I'll probably go down the route of, whoever super chats the show. It can be any amount. It doesn't matter. Even if it's 99 pence, like Up the A1 has done, it doesn't matter. Anyone that super chats the show, all go into a draw, and then basically you can win the ticket at the end of that show. So we'll probably do it that way. But keep your eyes peeled and keep subscribed because that is going to be a good giveaway to go and watch Newcastle against Manchester City. I couldn't believe there was tickets left, to be honest, but there was. And I thought, that would make a good prize. So there we go. And more of that coming up this season, definitely. So there will be, tickets going up and things like that. And Susan's working on a big quiz for everybody to take part in as well. So we're looking forward to that at some point. Eddie Howe says it's now time to work on our forward line. Yes, he is. He did make the comments, though, but I think he was talking about more in training, that they haven't really worked on it in training yet. And it's something that he is going to focus on over the next, probably in Portugal, really, the next couple of games. Now, whether he meant this, transfer dealings as well, we're not sure. But listen, I mean, Billy, he has to have been a little bit worried about the amount of possession we had against Mainz and didn't convert anything.
Absolutely.
Or didn't really create anything. It's
plain as day where we're lacking in the side at the moment, and it's the final third. One once Maxi came on and Elliot Anderson came in with him, it was a bit better. But for the first half, it was pretty stale up front, especially with Chris Wood in the middle, just being profligate with the chances he was given and not being able to control the ball. We've been through that loads of times. But yeah, it's plain as day to see, and we can see it. I'm pretty sure Eddie Howe can, and I'm sure he'll address it. And I'm sure Dan Ashworth has got a list as long as you're armed with strikers on it that would improve our worth.
Yeah, and let's not forget there's a couple of youngsters who may come through the fold this season. The likes of Dylan Stevenson, Munoz, who I must admit I was really impressed with when we watched that watch along with the French kids. I thought his aggression really I thought was good. Because he was up against a very, very difficult French team to play against, of course. But I thought he was really good. Created a couple of chances himself and really got stuck in. PD Proudlock, thank you for your £10 super chat, matey. Hope you're well. See you next week, mate. He says, did your third kit arrive, Paul? Mine arrived today. No, funny enough, it didn't. And I've got a little interesting fact about the email that I've received from Castori. They told me that Hermes was delivering it, okay? I see that Hermes have now changed to a company called Every. So whether that improves them, I don't know. But then they gave me a tracking number, which is a Royal Mail tracking number. So it isn't Hermes delivering it, because I then went onto the Royal Mail track and trace and put in the number, and it's with the Royal Mail. So, again, Castori. Don't even know who they're posting it out to. You know what I mean? It's mental. But Peter, hopefully I get it tomorrow, mate. I've been told that these are much better quality than the home strips. So I'm looking forward to finding out that it's not as tight around the guns. But we'll see. We'll see. And I will let you know when I receive it. Plenty of time to go yet. No need to panic. They're restructuring the club from top to bottom. Things take time and effort. They've got plenty of both. I agree with being careful. I don't want you guys to become like Derby. I don't think that'll happen. But listen, if it could happen to Forest, the way they're splashing the cash. Ryan says, one thing too is clubs are always in the market whilst the season starts. I don't subscribe to the idea of finishing your transfer business before the season kickoff. Interesting.
It's
Neil
best
Hawkins,
to. But
I think it is as well.
But it's not possible, is it, sometimes?
Neil Hawkins, thank you for your £5 super chat. Really do appreciate it. Great show again, guys, he says. Now, obviously, it is very, very quiet on the transfer front. We're not going to push players down your necks that really aren't going to sign and aren't linked. But what we thought was we'd do the Seska one to Yash. I'm going to do that every time now. I can't help it. It's just a natural reaction. Sean Connery comes into my mind. Yeah, Seska.
Funny.
Yes. So obviously we're sort of looking at your chats, what you put in the chat as well, and have a bit of a discussion about that. We've just had another £10 super chat in for Ryan Sweeney. Thanks, Ryan. He says, let's all remember Bruce and Cashley are gone now. So thank goodness of that, regardless of how it plays out. Indeed. And Velatita02, thank you for becoming a new member of the channel. And welcome to the Toon Review family. Thank you very much. I did want to talk about a little bit, obviously, about Jack Harrison, Alex, because, people are saying, well, he's a left-sided player, so, Maxi's already there. So if we did go for Jack Harrison, what would that mean? He just on the bench? Or would Maxi move to the right, Jack Harrison play on the left? Or maybe alternate the two on both sides, cutting in on the better foot?
Absolutely no idea. I wish I had an answer for that.
Yeah.
We've still got to remember that we've still only seen limited amounts from Eddie Howe and the coaching team in terms of, because it was very much just crack on with what you've got last season. Obviously, we had reinforcements. I mean, most of them were out, to be fair. Bruno barely played until later on, and Trippier was out. So I don't know. Don't know. It looks like he's a massive fan of inverted wingers. With the exception of Murphy playing on the right as a right footer, he doesn't seem to like out and out wingers. Whether that's a byproduct of who we've got in midfield and up front, and he's doing it because it suits who we've got personnel wise, and it fits So maybe he's a very open-minded manager, and maybe he's like, okay, as we bring in more talent, we can revert to a different way. I don't know. It depends. They seem like very, very open-minded coaches in terms of Tyndall and how they're both always learning, changing, trying new things, accepting of mistakes, which is very good. So maybe they'll. I don't know. It doesn't seem like they want natural wingers. They seem to lean very heavily into inverted wingers, but it could be anything. Nobody knows. It's a roll of the dice at this point. We're not privy to the inner conversations of the coaching team. So that is, as much as I love my stuff about stats and tactics and formations, it's just not a question anybody can really answer. I can't anyway. We'll see what they want to do.
Would Jack Harrison interest you, Billy? Would he sort of give you the fizz?
No.
And
he's a very good player, but we've been linked with so much better. He's a workman-like wide player, isn't he? He's like a Steve Coppell compared to a Ginola, if you like. He's a runner, and he has got skills, of course he has, and he does score goals. It's just a bit underwhelming to me, and especially for the price they're asking. There's better players around. Cornet, for instance.
It's a strange one for me. Why we may well be in for Cornet. You don't know. We may well be. Where we at? Brandon's asking what the league code is for the Fantasy Premier League, guys. It's actually at the end of the link. The code is at the end of the link. So if you just click on the link at the top of the live comments, it'll take you through to the actual league. So just click on that. Jimmy says the window is way too long. 2 weeks in the summer, get it done. Oh, God. 2 weeks in the summer, I think would be a little too over the top. It would just be pandemonium.
I disagree. I wouldn't have windows at all. I'd go back to the old ways where you can sign anyone whenever you liked.
Yeah.
Especially now we've got all this money, of course.
Yeah.
It's not very American, though.
Well, I don't think it.
Yeah, we did. There used to be a deadline, though, didn't there? Sort of later on in the season. It was about March or February or something. There used to be a cutoff point, but it wasn't called a window, was it? It just was like you couldn't sign anybody after a certain date. But I don't think it'll ever go back to that because, you know what they're like, Billy. It creates a lot of media, doesn't it? The transfer window creates a lot of, hell for most clubs, you know what I mean? Because we don't know who's coming or going. But a lot of people saying in the chat that obviously Newcastle United do a lot of things behind the scenes. Some of the transfers that they've made have all been out of the blue. Some of the announcements that they've made regarding the club have been very much out of the blue. They seem to be very good at keeping things in-house and doing business that way. So, that's why I'm not panicking yet anyway. I'm frustrated a little bit because I wanted, like you said before, Billy, I wanted to bring them in before pre-season, to get them gelled, but it doesn't always work out that way.
I always refer to the season Pardew did it, and it was the only season Ashley ever did it, and we ended up finishing fifth.
Yeah.
Fifth season.
It did, yeah. I just think that, but I still have 100% faith in what the owners are doing. Look at what they've done. Look at the turnaround of the club already. They've done work inside St James's Park already. They've getting the training ground, worked on. They've brought Dan Ashworth in. They've brought Darren Neils in. Come on. They are structuring the club for the future. It all can't happen in one summer. And I think that's what we need to realize as well. Even if we finish 10th this season, Christ, that's better than the last bloody few we've had. And there'd be a lot more entertaining football. And I've seen people, saying online, the likes of Bruno and everybody aren't going to stick around, if we're not showing the ambition that he thought we were going to show. But we are showing ambition by what we're doing with the training ground, what we're doing inside St James's Park, what we're doing by bringing these director of football in, the CEO. That's what we're doing, Alex.
Yeah, I mean that's a hot topic. That one is. Yeah, I agree, but I still think that those players have been promised certain things. So if we get to 3 more seasons in and we haven't reached any European football at any point, then I do worry for some of our better players that they will, especially the fact that Real Madrid have looked at Bruno and there are teams that have looked at some of our players. So there will be. I don't think there's a concrete set in stone. We have to achieve this, but I completely disagree with what Ben Jacobs was saying a few weeks ago on John's channel that people sign to play football. No, absolutely not. That's why people sign for Champions League teams, because they hold out for Champions League. They hold out for certain things. That's why these that's why things like that are inserted into contracts, and there are clauses. That's the whole point in these things existing. Otherwise, it's not just for football. It's ridiculous.
Yep. Valentina02, thank you for your $5 super chat as well as your new membership. What's up with Zapata? I heard we are looking at Alexander Mitrovic. Any news which is the search for a striker? Well, I don't think we're looking at Mitrovic. You can put that to bed straight away. But Zapata may be interesting because obviously he's at St James's Park next week if indeed he does play.
Do you want to see his stats? By the way, I had a little look the other day, and oh my word,
yeah.
They are definitely. Still. I'd forgotten how good he was. In all honesty, and
he's a beast.
They are absolutely
just while Alex is doing that. V says my new green and white Toon review mug arrived today, and it is also friggin' gorgeous. Love it. Thank you very much, V. Just to let you know, you can get your mugs and bottle openers, key rings, phone cases right here, guys.
So let's get down to business. I've been waiting, think I wanna make that move now. Baby, tell me if you like it. Tell me if you like it now. I've been waiting, think I wanna make that move now. Baby, tell me how you like it. Let's get down to business.
I just find having the right jive with that, the end of that music there when it kicks in. And I'd just like a big shout out to Roy Caviani, who eventually received his 4 mugs out in Qatar. I don't know where the hell they've been, but they've literally been around the world before they got to Roy. So I'm just so happy he's got them. It just so happens that 2 days before he put on Facebook that he received them, we ordered some more for him. So if anybody's called Penny, and wants a personalized mug, get in touch because we have a penny, but we've got a few for a giveaway now as well. So that's really good. David Smith, thank you for your £4.49 super chat. Think some fans need to relax. Some of us old ones were getting excited when we signed Bobby Shinton and Ray Clark.
Oh, God,
Jesus Christ almighty. That's going back a bit. Marching on together, LUFC 1919 says we won't sell Harrison for less than 35 million. He's worth more to us as a team. I find it baffling though, because Leeds have lost Rafinha, they've lost Calvin Phillips. Surely they can't lose any more of the top players because they're going to struggle.
That's why they won't sell him. That's fine. They can keep him, to be fair. I think he's a good player, but I mean, personally, I'd prefer we went in a different direction.
Yeah. Kevin's asking who Daka is. Well, Daka is he plays for Leicester City.
Patson Daka. He's meant to be the heir to Vardy.
Yeah. Glenn says, the next Haaland. His agent trying to get a bigger signing on fee.
Probably.
Sounds like you have a lisp, Paul. Sesko.
Remember that dog on that slide that you say sausages? That's what it sounds like.
Sausages. Yeah, sausages. Definitely. Visa Stato does love to he does love his yes. But that's what he's here for, to keep us all in line with the pronunciations of players. Yes. Barth says, I've watched this lad play a lot. He's perfect for the Premier League. Right, Zapata, Alex.
Yeah. So he had a lot of injury issues last year, unfortunately, but he underperformed. He only got 10 goals from 13.5 XG, so he should have scored more. But still, 14 goal contributions as an underperformance in only that amount of minutes as well is pretty. That's disgusting.
Alex, you've muted yourself, mate.
There we go. I don't know how.
There you go.
Where did you hear up to? Did you hear the goals?
No, as soon as you change screens, your sound went.
Oh, really? That's strange.
Yeah.
Why did that? 10 goals from 13.5 XG is is absolutely mental. It's not absolutely mental. It's the reverse of mental. It's very unlucky. I lost my chain of thought there. Sorry. He got rather unlucky. He should have had 13, 14 goals and he got 10. So that's not an underperformance. He just got a bit unlucky. So 14 goal contributions from 1,700 minutes is very, very solid. So an injury hit season and still gets 14 goal contributions is very tidy. And then if I scroll down, this is the
Celtic shirt.
that is filthy. That is absolutely.
It's ludicrous, that isn't it? Really, it really
criminally good. For 4 shots a game, 4 shots a game, every 90 minutes, he guarantees you 4 shots. That's. I mean, you can see it's in the 97th percentile. It's outrageous. Shot creating actions, he's in the top 7%. Touches in the attacking penalty area, he's in the top 1%. Progressive passes received, he's in the top 1%. He's just an absolute monster. He's a machine. 100%. If there's any possibility of bringing him in, yes, he's older. He's had a few injuries, but if we could, it's one of those players that it depends on what kind of contract it would be. If we could get him on a cheeky little, I was talking to Billy about this yesterday. If we could get him on a cheeky little 2-year contract and we don't get shafted for it, absolutely yes. But if he wants 3 years with an option and a load of wages, that's a bit, then it changes. So it depends. I don't know where we got linked with him. I know everybody said we've been re-linked with him in the last few days. I've not actually seen it myself. So if anybody has seen where that's come from, please feel free to tweet it to me because I haven't seen the links personally. So
I think it's all down to the friendly, Alex. I really do.
Oh, really? Is that where you think it's going? Because I've not seen anything. So
yeah, I agree, Billy.
Yeah, everybody started talking about him again, but I've not actually seen a link. So, yeah, weird. But yeah, he's amazing.
What's his value, Alex?
That's a great question. I don't know how long he's got left on his contract either. We can have a look on Transfermarkt. That'll give us his contract as well. Oh God, 28 million euros apparently. His contract runs out, so he's got 2 years left, and he's valued at that. I haven't really had a look at Atalanta's ingoings, outgoings, what their financial situation is. Obviously, they finished in 8th, which doesn't get them any European football in Italy. So I would assume they would need to possibly generate some funds, but maybe they've already done that. I haven't actually looked at their transfer window so far. So if we get officially linked with him, I'll go do that, and then we can talk about this properly. But at the moment, yeah, he's it's massively dependent on the contract because he's older. So at 31. If he wants a James Tarkowski contract, absolutely no. But if he'll take something reasonable, then yeah, by all means, he's incredible.
Yeah, I think I don't know. A lot of people are saying, "No, wait and see what happens in the, when Atalanta come to St James's. Are they waiting to have a conversation with them?"
We can't judge him on one game as well. If he comes to us and doesn't do very well, that doesn't mean he's not a good player. I know our fans do that a lot. Whenever they'll see one player in a Champions League game. Everybody did this with Botman as well. He made like a couple of weird decisions against Chelsea, and everybody was like, "Oh, I don't know if we should sign him now." Oh God, you can't base it off 1 or 2 matches. You've got to look at the bigger picture.
Yeah, indeed. Pen Purple says, what would you guys prefer? Sign Paqueta and sell Anderson, or keep Anderson and not sign Paqueta? Sign Paqueta, I have to say. As much as I love Elliot Anderson, that if we sign Paqueta, then, I think Elliot Anderson would probably go on loan anyway. But, the way Anderson's playing and what he said in the, the interview with the Chronicle is that he is very much wanting to be part of this squad. For this coming season. So, I think he's got a chance. I think he's pushing Eddie Howe to make a decision. And that's what we wanted from him. And I think that's what Eddie wanted as well. He wanted Elliot Anderson to say, or go and prove why he should be around the first team squad next season rather than out on loan. And I think he's doing it. It'd be very, I'm interested to see how he does in Portugal, whether he gets another good few minutes under his belt. And what I said on the video earlier today, was that I think with Elliot Anderson playing around the likes of, or training with Bruno, the likes of Bruno every day, My God, is that not going to improve him, Billy?
100%. And one thing you could definitely rule out now is he won't be going back to Bristol Rovers. He's played himself out of League One kind of games. High Championship team, I imagine, would be if we were to loan him out. But I'd like to actually give him a go because he has looked good enough. You know, he's looked very bright, very clever. Seems to gel with the players. He got a nice understanding there with Maxi. Absolutely give him a go. And
I mean, I know it
doesn't take a squad. It doesn't take a squad number, does he? Because he's a homegrown talent.
He's a homegrown talent, yes, so he doesn't have to be named in the 25, which is another bonus. I mean, just I think that we don't have to register him in the 25. That's another.
It's his age as well. It's not just because he's homegrown, but yeah.
But yeah, but whichever way you look at it, it's great to have a player like him available like that.
The problem is if he does get frozen out and he isn't getting used, then it's wasting our time. But he's bright enough to do it.
I don't think he would, Billy. That's the thing. No, I think if Eddie Howe's going to keep him, he'll use him. You know, I don't think he'll just stick him on the, you know, part of the squad, but not use him because
I think the 5 subs will greatly help him. I really do.
I need to check when the new loans come in as well.
Yeah,
the 5 subs will help him without any sort of a doubt.
Yeah, definitely. But the loans rules. I can't remember when because we chatted about this recently. I can't remember when the new loan rules come into effect, but that is essentially going to cancel 6-month loans. Which I was just going to suggest, if we keep him in the squad and he doesn't get any minutes by January, we could loan him out for 6 months. And then I've just remembered, but when did the new loan rules come into play? So I'd have to check that.
Good evening to Mrs. Toon Review, who's also in the house. Modern away back there. Everybody's saying hello to her. Forest are ambitious, fair play. Listen, hey, if they want to spend the money, that's their prerogative. If they want to show ambition to stay up, I personally think they will stay up this season. I think they'll finish around 14th. But you know what I mean? They've got to be careful because if they're spending a lot of money and then they did go down, then that's when all hell breaks loose again with money.
Like Brentford could have thrown 200k a week at Ericsson. Is that ambitious or is it dangerous? I think it's an unfair adjective.
Exactly. There's got to be a middle ground, hasn't there? You know, you can't go around chucking money. You know, it's happened to certain clubs, and look where they are now. You know, you look at the likes of Swindon Town, Barnsley, etc., who've been in the Bradford City, been in the Premier League, and look where they are now. You know, it's you have to be very, very careful. I know Forest, they've been out of it for a long time. They've certainly had the similar to Leeds. You know, they've been in League One, they've been in the Championship, they've been out of the Premier League for a long, long time. Founder members, of course. So it is good to have them back, but again, they've got to be very careful.
And I'd like them to improving Premiership manager, haven't they? I mean, he's got all the praise in the world and what he's so for what he did last season. But in the Premiership, it's a whole different kettle of fish. Can he do it in the Premiership? That's a big thing.
Absolutely. By the way, Alex, you've got a story. I know you've put you keep bumping in the private chat. What's the story?
It's my favourite player that we mentioned in the free transfer shows, Florian Grealish, the guy that I wanted from Hoffenheim, the big, tall defensive midfielder who can spray the ball about in a possession-based team. Looks like he's going to Brighton to replace Bissouma. So I'm quite proud of my analysis on him being capable of stepping up. If Brighton think he's capable of doing that, then obviously we've got Shelvey and Bruno in that position. So it was a little bit full for us, but I thought it was an interesting shout because obviously I've mentioned him a lot on certain shows. But the fact that Brighton are going for him is it's interesting, and he'll be free as well. So very good business from Brighton this window if they can.
You're quite impressed with what Brighton have done so far, aren't you? Despite losing Bissouma.
Yeah, well, this is the same for a few clubs. Everybody's saying, Leeds and Brighton are losing all their best players, but they're not actually looking at who they're recruiting behind the scenes. You've got to look at the recruitment as well. They look like they're recruiting very well. So obviously it could fail, but it looks interesting.
Have they signed the left wing back yet? Because I reckon Cucurella's going to Man City.
Well, they've had a bid rejected, haven't they, today? But Man City can just up and do what the hell they want. I mean, I know that, but.
And he'll himself and Michael Correa as well, I imagine. I mean, he won't want to be there, will he?
Mubarak says, I wonder who has more a say in this transfer window, Dan Ashworth or Eddie Howe?
I guess they'd be working together.
Yeah, I wouldn't have thought either one of them's got the power over each other. I mean, I know it'd be interesting to find out, but I think, working together is what they brought Dan Ashworth in for. I can't see Eddie Howe being happy if he's overruled, but he won't be overruled. They'll be doing this together as a team.
Yeah,
and I'd be very disappointed if they weren't.
Yeah, it's not going to be squabbling. It'll be done properly.
Yeah. Gary says we've still got the Ekitike money slashing about. Will get spent. Ryan says I think we'll be fine, but yeah, they have to understand 60 million is a general price for top players. Zig's not very keen on JP Morgan either. Maxine says, anyone else just loving the fact that we took Bruno from under Arsenal's nose and looks like we're going to do the same with Paqueta. We need to just be enjoying this and stop worrying. Well,
I think Arsenal have moved on. I think Arsenal have moved on. I'll be perfectly honest. I think the signing of Zinchenko proved they've moved on.
They don't need an attacking midfielder. It makes no sense.
No. But listen, they've got some good attacking midfielders there, haven't they? I mean, you look at Smith Rowe is a very, very talented young kid, and I think he's got a very big future.
And they gave him the number 10 as well, and they can't phase him out.
So to bring Paqueta in would be a very strange thing, unless it's somebody's way of kicking Newcastle into gear to get the deal done. We know there's voices out there who will very much bring up other clubs being interested in players just so the club that they were originally linked with gets a kick up the arse and decides that things need to be done. But again, we'll see what happens. Looney Tunes says, is the Diaby deal off? Are we still looking at him? Would love to sign him. Well, he said he wants to stay with them, didn't he?
Doesn't mean it's off, but yeah, he doesn't want to move, so.
Well, yeah, I mean, we've heard players how many times say, no, I'm not moving, and then
but nor did Sesko Mara. Sesko Mara apparently said he wasn't keen on leaving France and is going to Southampton, so.
Yeah. I am serious says, JP Morgan were the ones funding the Super League. Didn't know they were involved with Chelsea. Well, that's what Billy means by it all seems a bit weird, shall we say. But obviously we don't know a lot about it, so we can't really comment on it, but it does seem a little bit offhand, if you ask me. But FFP and Newcastle tax is bull. Well, Jason, this is happening on Monday night at 8 o'clock, everybody. What is FFP and how does it work? You wanted us for weeks and weeks and weeks to do a show like this, and finally it is happening, guys. Monday night, 8 o'clock on the Toon Review. We are going to sit and we're going to discuss FFP. Alex has done a great deal of work on it. So if you do have any questions about it that Alex hasn't covered, then I'm sure we'll find out for you. But there's a lot of work gone into this show, guys. So we're hopefully going to try and get to the bottom of FFP. And
it's taken a long time because they're changing it, which is why it's taken so long. Yep.
But hopefully by the end of the show on Monday night, you will be a lot more aware of what FFP is and how it works and how it affects Newcastle United, etc., etc. So that is going to be a brilliant show. And tomorrow night, don't forget, we have TTR Friday, which is our just sort of let your hair down start of the weekend. We'll have the usual stuff in there with Billy's Beef and Daniel's.
I took my sunglasses off. Susan took my sunglasses off. Where did they go?
I don't know, but you very much look like Kenny Rogers on there, Alex. I have to say, but I'm not even going to attempt to say what me and Billy look like. So, but there you go. TTR Friday back tomorrow, of course. Shamed by Stato will be there. Comment of the week will be there. All the usual laughter. We've had a great response by all of you guys for that show. You've loved watching it. Just something a little bit different. And away for the rigmarole of the transfer window and football and things like that. Obviously, we talk about football, but it's a good laugh and it's a great way to start your weekend. So that'll be 8 o'clock tomorrow night as well, guys. Don't forget that. Excuse me, choking here. Joking here? Who? What? Aren't JP Morgan the bank behind the Super League? Yes, there were. Ours says new FFP rules to be voted in from 2024. That will increase the spending limit. They have Champions League revenue streams in the mix. Asensio around 25 million. Why are we not all over that? Cornet will end up going elsewhere for 17.
Oh, I think he's just fired his agent. I think Jade mentioned something today. I haven't confirmed it, but apparently he's fired his agent. I don't know why or if that's true. Apparently, I'd have to go and check, but he said he wants to stay and see out his final year. Why would he fire his agent? It's a bit odd. So I need to go and double check that.
Yeah,
Maybe his agent wants him to move.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, possibility. But I mean, that's interesting. It just seems to have gone very quiet on Asensio for any club, to be honest, to signing him. Aaron said he'd rather have Cornet than ASM. Alan says, I hope so, Rachel. We need some other attacking options. When will we start increasing the pay for top earners? It's got to happen sometime. Well, I said in the video earlier on, I think, maybe once we get into Europe, is that when they start putting them up, Billy?
I guess so. Or win a trophy or something like that, The higher the table, I guess, the higher the wage bill will be. One thing that we haven't spent for years is our Premier League prize money from last season.
Yeah.
Surely that would be at the very minimum that we'd spend, which was 140, 150 million, if I'm correct. I don't know, but it's generally that neck of the woods when you finish 10th, 11th, isn't it?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
So you'd think, there'd be more money to spend, and
but it's down to FFP as well with the new changes coming in. You were not. I don't want to go too far, but we mentioned this briefly before, where they're gonna at the moment, the way the rules currently work, you can offset spending through investment in academy and facilities and things of the like, whereas it's going to change towards that not counting anymore.
Yeah.
So it's possible that they're trying to. Maybe that's why they're sort of doing all, like rushing through all of this now. Which would make a lot of sense.
Spite us, yeah. And as we're doing it, quickly to get it out of the way, yeah.
Level 7 Dave, good evening. Can I join your fantasy league? Of course you can, mate. Just click the link at the top of the live comments.
Oh, I'd love to see his team. I'd love to see his team.
We could name quite a few players that we think might be in level 7 Dave's team, of course. Jason Scott, thank for your £4.49 super chat. Cover the electric bill for the FFP show, Paul. Proud sponsor. Thanks very much, Jason. Appreciate that, mate. Foxy says, if we're targeting a young forward, I'd be taking Marcos Leonardo ahead of Seska. Another outstanding performance and goal yesterday for Santos.
I haven't looked at him. I'm aware of him, but I've never looked into him.
Interesting. Jason says, anyone see the Stevie Wonder Castoria post earlier on Twitter? It's hilarious. What I did see was a Villa fan not very happy with his Castoria shirt. The Castoria logo at the bottom of the front of the shirt was upside down. Belton. Absolutely belting. It just seems like we're not the only ones that are affected by this absolutely masterful company that do our strips.
Aston Villa fans seem to think the Premier League table's upside down most of the time.
Billy. Anderson did well, but he'd probably be loaned out. I have a feeling deep inside, Chris Wood 15 plus goals before Christmas.
Go to GP.
Yes.
You wouldn't even get that in Sabutio, mate.
I would definitely suggest medical advice is needed for yourself there. Thomas says, I'd have to be on Julie's team. She told me to. Obviously, that's for a quiz. Yeah, Julie's rather good at quizzes. Laura says, I heard Longstaff didn't get moment in pre-season. Matty, I'm assuming. So surely he's going to be released. He played for the under-23s the other day. So, look, I don't think Matty's in Eddie Howe's plans. I genuinely don't. He was one of the players that was training with the under-23s anyway. So I don't think we're going to see a lot of Matty Longstaff anywhere near the first team. And in fact, I think he'd be gone. It just amazes me, all the rigmarole. Was it a year ago or 2 years ago now, when the contract rigmarole over Matty, with everybody just absolutely going ballistic, saying, oh, we should sign him. And, all that hassle. And then he's played 1-2 games since, just beggars belief.
He was a promising player, but when he was loaned out to Aberdeen, it seems to have gone downhill for him from there, doesn't it? Because he was awful for them, wasn't interested. Yeah. It seemed to be okay for Mansfield, but not kind of pulling up trees.
Is that his level, though, Billy? Is that his level? You have to start asking questions. If he struggled at Aberdeen, but then went to Mansfield, played pretty well there by all accounts, but I don't think he's a Premier League. I don't think he's going to make it in the Premier League, which is a shame because he was really, really promising.
Yeah,
he scored that fantastic goal against. Well, he scored a couple of goals against Man United, hasn't he? So, a little bit disappointing for him. Francisco says I would go Cornet, Paqueta, and either Sesko or Abraham. I think that wouldn't break us financially and would improve us a lot. Caretaker says
Abraham.
Yeah. Oh, no, that's not going to happen. Anderson could save the club 40 million quid if we have more of our own players coming through. It makes FFP irrelevant.
Good point.
Can't hatch them out of eggs.
That's right, Alex. But we have hatched one out of an egg in Elliot Anderson.
Yeah, we got one. We're going to wait a while now.
Yeah. My money's on Foxy every time. I can't remember a player's name. He has it. Meg says, I took it that they moved to Royal Mail due to their delays. I appreciated getting it in 24 hours, and it's perfect, Paul. Okay. At least Royal Mail. We've seen that 5 super chat. At least Royal Mail is more reliable than Hermes, without a doubt. I've heard Hermes, whatever they're called.
Isn't Hermes a detective from Ashington?
How the hell am I supposed to know that?
Sherlock Holmes.
Oh, God almighty. Sherlock Holmes. Yes. By the way, also on Castoria, I've seen some emails from them to some of the Newcastle United fans, giving them a 25% discount code or 25% £25 off voucher. I got nothing. So either they've just forgot to include mine, or they watch this show and realize how much I've praised them over the last few months for their brilliant service, and have decided that I don't need a £25 voucher. So I'm very disappointed with that.
Well, if you did receive one with a Rangers badge on, it'll be a unique hit with the only green and white shirt in history with the Rangers badge on, so it could be worth a few quid.
Oh, God. Yeah. We'll see what happens.
But whoever's in charge of that needs firing, because if they got in touch with you and tried to smooth it over and helped you out, and then it was all fine for all the viewers that watch this show, that would be very good business for them. But if the fact that they've left it just shows they just don't care.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. It should have been standard that if any delays were on the shirts, if they've given £25 vouchers to all the people who have emailed in and said I haven't received it, then they've made this excuse about changing warehouse, etc. But why offer some a voucher and not the others? It doesn't make any sense, and it doesn't. Again, it beggars of just shocking customer service.
They could have sorted it. They could have done like a video. They could have released a video and explained why the sizing's different. They could have then promised we're going to add an additional size up. They could have done so much to bring everybody on board and rebuild the reputation. And they've just done nothing. It's disgraceful.
Yep. Stuart says, do you believe there will be a surprise big signing before the start of the season? Yes, I'm very confident there will be. But when, I don't know. You're still confident Paqueta, Billy?
Absolutely.
You've been full on Paqueta for a while now. Alex, what about you?
I could see it being something like a Sesko, maybe not him, but it will be because the club were massively in for Ekitike. So I think they're going to be 100% nailed on trying to get a young striker. Yeah. And then I think Paqueta, just because I think he will want to go. He wants to leave Lyon, and Lyon are ready to sell him this window. So all three things are in line. It's just the transfer fee. So I think we'll get a young striker and Paqueta. If I had, gun to my head, that's what I'd have to say. That's what my heart thinks. So we'll see.
Anthony says we can get better than Harrison. I'm with you, Billy. Stotty says people may have plenty of time, but lifelong supporters 1964 onwards may not have plenty of time. Good show, Paul. Yeah, well, that's another way. That's another way of doing it, saying it. I mean, these supporters have been waiting so long for a trophy, so long to see us win something. Of course, 1969 was the last time. There's a lot of the Newcastle United fan base of various age gaps now have not seen us win anything for a long time, and that needs to change. So yeah, you can understand that. The time is ticking, and people want to see the club win something before they obviously pass on, and it's installed in the blood. That Peter says I had the same as well, saying it was Hermes delivering, and as well, and it was Royal Mail. God knows how many Sinclairs they've had sending them out for delivery. Oh, jeez. Listen, they should be known as, instead of just change the name from Castoria to Sinclair. Just absolutely. Put John's face as the logo.
Sinclair.
Yeah, John, if you're watching, mate, get yourself a sponsorship with Castoria. There you go. Alex has given you a name for it. You can change your channel name to that. There you
Sounds
go.
like a fragrance, doesn't it? Sinclair.
Yes. Tonight on Sinclair. It just sounds perfect. Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. Brett says, good afternoon from Washington State. Hoping for a Brazilian midfield and everything else is gravy. Love the show at lunchtime. Great, Brett. Thank you for tuning in, my man.
Not American gravy, though. Just not your gravy. Sorry.
No, American gravy is not the same. Definitely not the same. Let's calm down where we were at this time last year. Takes time and patience to grow anything good. Indeed. I mean, I'm trying to think what takes a while to grow, but is well worth waiting. You know, Billy.
I'm all sorts up as well at the same time.
Think of a poor elephant. You know, look how long an elephant is pregnant for, right? But it's well worth. Is it 24 months, 2 years? An elephant's pregnant, I believe it is. Think of it, you know, that cute little elephant coming out after. Let's move on.
I was thinking jalapenos or chili peppers, and you went for elephant. We were on different mindsets.
Miles apart there. Transfer windows keep the buzz going while the footy is taking a break. It does, but some people overdo it. Tom says up until the mid-90s, you could sign anyone at any time. Then a transfer deadline came in between March and the end of the season. That then led to the current window system a few years later. Yeah, I thought that something happened like that.
Tom's a man.
He certainly is. Can anyone remember what the window was introduced in the first place? Did it help the Super Six?
As it goes, in that day and age, we'd have been part of the Super Six.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, absolutely.
So, no.
I don't think it did help. No. Gary says, name one transfer window in the past 14 years where we've spent £100 million in January and 55 in a summer. Never. So let's get behind our team and go for it regardless of who we get from now on. I like that quote, Gary.
That's not how money works because it goes up over time. That you have to make that relative for that sentence to make any sense, I'm afraid. I know what you mean.
See where he's coming from.
Yeah.
Mark says, look at the players we are linked with. Yeah, and much different this time last year. You know, Pound Stretcher comes to mind this time last year. But Jim says, come on, people. If you go to buy a car and the dealer thinks you look like you have a bob or two and bumps the price 25%, are you going to pay it? Trust the owners. Alan says, 10:50 p.m. here in Kos. I've had a few, but still watching, even though my missus thinks I'm a fucking nutter. Well, most women think the partners are nutters.
On the mythos, I guess.
Yes.
Nice drop a bit of that.
That's heavy stuff. Just like the Brunel. Looney Tune 9 says they're setting us up to be a powerhouse. Real good times to be a Toon fan. Look, it probably wasn't as strong as it felt, the Brunel, to be honest. I think it was the heat. Because it was monumentally hot and I think it just sapped my system. And I thought, after having that bottle of Brune, I came off the show and I thought, you know what? I'm going to sleep well tonight. Did I? Bollocks. You know, so it didn't knock me out. Magpie says owners need to understand that the world is judging them not on the backroom staff hires, but the hire of managers, players, and then the results on the pitch. Yeah, but
people need to understand and respect the backroom hires are important. People need to learn.
Yeah, which, you know, for me, it's what to do with the whole club. You know, you know, if you're a proper fan of the club, you know, then you'll know what we've been through the last 14, 15 years. You'll know how, you know, decrepit the stadium became. You know, you look at the ceiling and there's electrical wires hanging through. Just health and safety. God, they would have had a field day had they walked in that stadium towards the back end of last season. You know, damp in the toilet walls, it just minging. And the concourse, you know, you could hardly walk because your feet were stuck to it. Nothing had been done. And then to see the photos that are coming out from St. James's Park now, I'm really looking forward to going back there next Friday night and seeing what they've done. And sort of, you know, going around the concourse, seeing black and white everywhere, you know, instead of, you know, Sports Direct signs. And
I mean,
that's
Billy's
a big
there now.
Difference. Sorry?
Billy's there now.
He is. I mean, Billy's been there a long time. Up in the gods.
Just going to catch the ball from Portugal. There you
go. Yeah. How's the Tyne Bridge looking from there, Billy?
Level 7 on it.
Still sitting on it?
He's there.
Yeah,
he's fishing.
He's fishing, level 7. Yeah, God, honestly, he'll never live that down. I swear to God, he won't. Up the A1 says, I would rather they keep things close to their chest. Saves on other teams putting their fingers in the pie. We must also remember we potentially finished 4th the second half of last season with the team we had. Indeed. And I think a lot of people forget that, to be honest. Guy says, just got a ticket for the Manchester City game. Still a few left. There is a few left, and one of them is with me to give away.
When is the City game? Is it? We played them.
It's a
shortly after Forest, don't we? Is
Sunday, a half
second or third game, something like that.
Yeah, it's a 4:30 kickoff. Yeah, definitely. Jason says, is Toon Review doing their own fantasy Premier League? We could do with a prize for top 3. Just a thought, Jason. There will be prizes. Link is at the top of the live comments. Get yourself on there and get yourself a team ready to go. Alan says, exactly, there's 14 years of neglecting all aspects of the club to try and put right. Johnny wants a description what you meant, Billy.
Of
things that take time to grow. But I would rather
oak trees from acorns, for instance.
Yeah, exactly. Good answer, Billy. I was dreading what you were going to come out with there, but that'll do. Yano says, Paulie, you're planning on doing a watch-alongs for every away game this season? Yep. Every away game, every home game. Billy will be doing the watch-alongs for the home games. I will be covering the away games. So every game will be on this channel for commentary. So, even if you're watching the game on whatever platform you're watching it on, you can turn the commentary off and listen to me or Billy. And you won't get any biased bullshit, basically. I mean, yes, we want Newcastle to win, obviously, but we won't be, talking about other clubs all through the game or anything rubbish like that. So, yes, is your answer to that. Paul, can we take some video of the inside of St. James's when you go? Would love to see a fan's perspective. Yeah, I'll try, actually. Yeah, that'll be good. Alan says, spot on, Billy. Mythos, very nice. The place is heaving, but I've enjoyed listening to the three of you. I'll be tuning in tomorrow night also. It'll be nice to see Danielle. Yeah, she'll be back tomorrow night after a busy week at work. Bless her. Paul says, hi, Paul. Would you wait up to 7 years for a rebuild of St. James's Park? Saw on a video today. Possibly. Yeah. I mean, look, I'm not really of the opinion that that's way up the top of the list of the new owners, if I'm honest. I think it's quite low down. I think there's a lot of other things need to be in place and structured first before they even look at expansion or whatever with the stadium. Obviously, they'll have seen the demand for tickets. They'll know that there's a big waiting list. They'll know that there's a lot of people want to be there, but they have to do things right. They have to get the rest of the club structured and running really well before they touch the stadium for me. There's a lot of stuff that the previous regime basically destroyed. It's good to see Chippers in tonight, isn't it?
They keep trying.
He does. Well, they do, don't they? Yeah. Oh, crazy. Renier says, Billy, do you ever get up to go to the games?
I haven't been for a long time. Last game I went to was the Bordeaux UEFA Cup game of 2012.
Yeah.
And then I decided to pack it in for Mike Ashley. And obviously now it's I'll be commentating, so it doesn't look like I'll be there this season.
Hey, you can get up, Billy. Don't worry. We can get somebody else to commentate. Don't you worry about that. If you can get to a game, you get to a game. But I mean, the thing is now, the beauty of it is we get to see most of the games anyway, home and away. So, and we can bring the commentary to you guys, which is good.
Have to do a TTR box and bring everybody.
Exactly. Yeah, well, are you funding that, Alex?
It depends how many eggs we can hatch.
Yeah, exactly. Derek says, fans are frustrated seeing other clubs buying strikers we're supposed to be linked with. Trust the process, but I understand the frustration. Yeah, that's it. And it's not just because you're frustrated, it doesn't mean that you're having to. This is the thing, that you're not having to go at the owners. Everybody can get frustrated, but in a way that's not like, it doesn't have to be a bad thing. It's just frustration because you want the club to grow quickly. But then on the flip side of that, you have to understand that there's a process, and it's not going to be in one transfer window everything done and dusted. But we the frustration is there for everybody, but we know that these owners have the club's interest at heart, whereas the previous ones didn't. You know, these people want to win things, and they want to win things for the fans as well as themselves.
You got to channel the frustration the correct way. I love the people on Twitter that whenever Ekitike tweets anything, they just send him pictures of benches all the time. I love it. Absolutely love it. I've got so much time for that. So, just channel it in a different way.
Yeah. Mike says, getting Billy to St. James's sounds like a love story. Make it happen. Billy deserves it. I can just see, Billy traveling up and doing a vlog. And then once I put the video together, all you'll hear is sort of Billy talking about how beautiful it is to be back in Newcastle. And then the music will be da 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 da. Or it'll just have every viewer crying.
He's been cooking. He's been cutting onions up.
I'll bring you up, Billy. We can vlog the trip up and everything.
There you go.
Sounds good. Sounds like a world trip.
Yep. Right, we've come to the end of the show, guys. Again, thank you very much to everybody that's sent in a super chat. Thank you to everybody that's commented, become a new member. Thank you so much. It really does make this show what it is. We love interacting with you guys and talking about potential signings and the club itself. A lot more to come on that. Of course, tomorrow night, don't forget TTR Friday at 8 o'clock. Just to let your head down, have a good laugh with us about anything, really. Anything goes on that show within reason, Billy. So we like to have a good laugh, as you do know. So Billy's Beef, Shamed by Stato, and of course, Danielle's Rant will all be back tomorrow night. I'm very interested to see what they all come up with tomorrow night, actually. So, thank you very much. And if you have enjoyed the show, as usual, guys, hit the like button to let YouTube know that this is a fabulous channel and it's really going places. And if you're new and you've liked what you've seen, guys, do subscribe. It is free to do so. And also hit the notification bell, which will let you know when we upload or go live. You can become a member as well if you hit that join button. But we have that giveaway coming up with the season ticket. I mean, a ticket for Man City, not a season ticket. No. God, if you could rewind live, it would be very helpful sometimes, wouldn't it? But there you go. We do have a Man City ticket to give away. And we've also got, actually, I think we'll do this on TTR Friday, actually, Billy and Alex. Yeah. We'll give this away. Yeah. If you remember, you're in with a chance of winning this. I think it's an XL, but as I say, you can do with what you want. So there you go. We will give that away tomorrow night. It'll be a members giveaway. So if you remember or you're not a member, get in there to win it. You have to be in it to win it. Who used to say that?
Lottery, national lottery, wouldn't it?
That's right. Yes.
It would be you. Me, they're back again.
Honestly, these porn channels are just incredible. They never give up, do they? I mean, what do they think they're going to achieve? I mean, obviously chippers, but we'll see.
We've got good eyesight to see it.
Billy. Right, thanks guys for joining me tonight. Thank you to our absolute magnificent mods behind the scenes, the Supermod team, legends keeping the chat all nice and friendly. And we will see you tomorrow night with TTR Friday. Enjoy the last day of your week, guys, and we'll see you tomorrow. Take care.
Now we're the last.